Hello, everyone, and welcome to the first week of, or the second week even of EGF.
Uh-oh.
Of EGF Big East Invitational. Oh my god, my brain just completely stopped working there. I'm really sorry. We're now coming into week 2 of our 4-week prelims where the Big East are competing against each other to earn their seeding in the EGF Big East Invitational LAN event in New York City on the 7th and 8th of December. These games will be played out in a best-of-5 format with 4 matches taking place every Sunday at 12 EST. So if you don't want to miss any of the action, make sure to follow us on at Twitch and Twitter at official EGF.
Yes, sir. Big Apple will be the Big East competition here, Rocket League, New York, December 7th and 8th. Today, we're starting off with a match between Butler University and Xavier University. Next, we'll be looking at DePaul going up against Seton Hall. Game 3 will be Georgetown University versus St. John's University. Man, I was rhyming throughout there, then I kind of messed it up there. Oh well. And finally, closing the show, we have Marquette University versus Providence. Bunch of big colleges from up there. Big East side, Northeast side of the United States.
Yeah, I mean, again, we saw last week these teams all play against each other, and they were really, really good games. We get to see Georgetown playing this week with, I believe, Villanova taking the bye. So if we go and have a look at the standings, it's looking pretty good, Tug, at the moment. You know, it's quite close. If we need to see Xavier, Seton College, and St. John's taking a win here to try and even it out. And of course, with Georgetown getting the bye there, they are technically 5th in the standings. So So as soon as seeing where they place here, they could end up in one of those top 4 spots. We could see everything kind of get shuffled around. And yeah, it should be very, very good and interesting to see how these things come out. So we are going to be getting into game 1 now. So yeah.
Week 2, there's not. I mean, I guess on paper, right? Numbers wise, everybody is 100% winless or 100% scoreless. If you just look at that, then what you're looking at is just absolute exaltment and merriment, or just absolute death and delirious destruction because you're not taking a win yet. But Xavier is up 1-0. Butler, I believe, lost last week, so they're 0-1.
Yeah, and now we're starting game 1. We have Xavier Esports in the blue with Butler University in orange here. So it should be... these teams didn't play against each other last week. So I believe they both won. No, Xavier lost their round, and Butler is currently tied for 4th in the... or tied for 1st and 2nd in the standings. I believe there's a 3-point differential for both of them.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Yes. So, as it is, this could, again, just completely shake up the standings coming into week 3. And both teams have, played significantly well. Xavier Esports, of course, not winning their first game, but they did play extremely well and did take it to a game 5.
Gotcha. Yeah, sorry, I was confused about the, overall goals scored is going to affect seeding once players have even win-loss ratios. That just makes sense.
That is correct.
What we've been seeing so far is Butler keep this ball up in the air. They've been shooting these really, really fast shots as well, but Xavier all over these. Those shots not going to get in that easily.
Yeah, and a bit of a back and forth here as Webbs tries to take control there. Not going to be able to. A good midfield shot there as Steven now trying to take control. And both of these teams, if they're going to be playing similar to last week, again, it's their first game of the day, so they might be warming up a little bit as Webbs goes for the shot there. A good save coming out from McWiff as McWiff rebounds
double defense for Xavier there turns out for the better. Sometimes that will result in players knocking cars against each other. Never a good time because, even just if you're just off your kilter for a second or two, that really can make a difference.
Yeah, as we see Butler University here putting a lot of pressure onto Xavier. Xavier trying to get some wiggle room, find some things, as we see a ceiling shot trying to be made there by Webbs. Mushu is going to manage to save it. A good little bit of a tap coming over Mushu there, as both of the teams here at the moment are just trying to fight for ball control. Good aerial here, going into the back wall. A bit of a rebound coming out, not, again, managing to find that connection. I mean... Again, the clock, we're what, almost halfway into this first game now, Tug, and there's no goals being scored.
There has not been. There's been several shots, some really great defenses, but no points on the board yet. That's another one right here. There's been bouncing this back and forth, like, oh man, what is the yo-yo ball thing that you'd hit against a paddle? I can't remember what that's called. But that really was just, that was Butler University's goal post there for just a second. Nothing scored in though, no harm, no foul. What we've seen so far is these teams take definitive control of the ball and then take shots, and then the opposing team block every single one that comes in.
Yeah, there was a nice pinch coming out there for a second as Steven looks to try and find something. McWhip just being able to dunk the ball over him there. I mean, at the moment, both of these teams are playing super evenly, and it's interesting because one mistake at the moment with the clock running down at the could just lead to that first game going to it on a 1-0.
Steven going up on top there. I mean, with a ball spending this much time in the air, you're going to have those aerial skills all day long to have any sort of hand in this match.
Yeah, Xavier Esports Mushu there setting himself up as he does get a nice little tap. I mean, a good read coming out from him here. He gets it past one of the defenders. Zombie tries to get it, manages to clear it, but it's a fairly weak clear, and Mushu follows it up, scoring that goal.
Man. Yeah, the clear coming right out in the middle. You put a ball like that up for a player like Mushu, he's going to knock it in every time. I believe that was the anime, some sort of force push thing in there in the goal animation.
Oh, the goal animation itself, I'm not actually sure, but Satisfied Onion here getting a nice tap, and the aerial bump there coming out and clearing one of the Butler players away. Xavier now being in an absolutely fantastic spot, a minute 20 left onto the clock tug, so anything's possible still. They could find a retort in the goal.
Interesting. Mushu, after showing some very fancy footwork previously, comes up, fails to get this ball out when it was pretty clear. Now that's a solid shot. If that had landed just a little bit to the right, we'd be looking at a tie game right now. But I like that Xavier is still getting aggressive and still staking these shots. Oh my goodness.
The double tap from Steven there. He goes to make the shot off of Webbs, hits the crossbar, and just manages to land in the perfect spot for it to rebound straight back into the goal, evening it out with a minute left onto the clock. Like I said, literally 30 seconds ago, they could find the answer, bring it back 1-1, and we might see overtime going into game 1.
Ooh, the simultaneous explosions here like they're on the same timer. Interesting stuff. Nice setup there for Zombie as Steven just wasn't... I mean, we just saw him be in the perfect position a second ago. You can't always just get that perfect lucky positioning.
No, yeah, Zombie there trying to make something happen and bring it up to a goal lead with 30 seconds left onto the clock would have been a very comfy position to be in. A Satisfied Onion tries to make it, and Webbs clears the ball away from him, now intercepting it, taking control. Loses it for a second here as Mushu's going to try and make something happen. Steven coming out with a good dunk there, managing to get the ball control away as a nice little tap comes up. And, I mean... It's interesting to see neither player's going for anything like extraordinarily fancy, but still trying to make these things work.
Yeah, these are two cool and calm and collected teams who are willing to push this into overtime all day long. This ball is up here near Butler's, but I would be, or near Xavier's, excuse me, but I would be very surprised. Yeah, there we go. We're into overtime now. Folks, if you want to, if you're looking for a precipice for the action here, all you have to look for is an explosion either side. These teams have spent the past 90 seconds or so changing up the game plan a little bit, you might say, and that has started with eliminating one of the three of the other players on the other side, making for a harder defense.
Yeah, the demos have been really important here at the moment, but also just the setups that each player has been caused. The first goal we saw from Mushu was an absolutely fantastic setup onto himself. And like I said, we're not seeing anything super fancy. We're not seeing anybody go for like jump reset or flip resets or anything like that. And it's interesting because it's being played at such a calm level. And again, this could come up to people just warming up, and I expect to see more and more things coming out as the matches go on. But overtime, this could go on for a while, ladies and gentlemen, as Butler start to put on some pressure, hitting the crossbar. Webbs was ready to set up with a bit of a guillotine drop at the just there, but doesn't quite make it. As both of the players here, oh, a nice little aerial pass there, managing to get it, or McWhip managing to get it past Webbs. As still, even with this ball control, Xavier University are really struggling to try and clear it. And just as I say that, they managed to get it center field.
I love what Butler is doing right now. This ball has spent a lifetime, it seems, in front of Xavier's goal. Now, they have been on this. Actually, that's a double miss right there. Nice job by McWhip getting on out there. Did not McWhip this one might say. Ball's still up there in the middle of, in front of Xavier's, though. They are not going to feel truly comfortable until this is over on Butler's side of the map.
Yeah, I mean, we're not... It's so back and forth at the moment, and due to it being in overtime here, we don't actually have, like, they're not necessarily pressured in the same way that a clock would pressure them. So they can just kind of keep this ping pong, the back and forth going on for a little while. As we do see a demolition coming out to Webbs there. Steven trying to look like it's set up. It's very well set up in the center, but it does go slightly too high there. Zombie Burger trying to follow it up. Not going to get it off of the backboard. Webbs managing to get it past the one defender, but it does get past him. So again, now it looks like Xavier on the attack, trying to make something happen. A lovely little rebound off of his own teammate as Satisfied Onion saving that mostly defenseless goal.
Yeah, up in the top right there. Oh, on the corner, and Steven G just snakes it in there. Nicely done. Butler going to go up 1-0 in the series. And how interesting that this ended just like that, right? There was no long, drawn-out setup for that. That was just Butler keeping this ball in front of Xavier's goal for a while and then taking advantage of it once it seems to Xavier players that they were trying to, they were like, you know, trying to bring it down. They were getting at a goal. They were no longer set up defensively, and just being able to snake that corner because he was, you know, he got on the right side by hitting sidebar in, bouncing that in, whereas this defensive player was left side. Can't say enough about it.
Yeah, and as we're going into game 2 now, Butler University up 1 of this best of 5 set, so they're definitely feeling more comfortable now. We saw both teams, I think, starting to get more warmed up at that last bit, so hopefully this game coming in now, we should see much more aggressive plays coming out from both of the sides, as we are going to be getting into game 2 right now.
Interesting. We actually have, I think that was a car format set change up by McWiff. I believe he's using, no, hang on, that's Zombie. Yeah, Zombie is using that SUV type now.
Huh, interesting. Yeah, I mean...
Yeah, and Webbs, yep, and Webbs is the super flat supercar. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, and that's another thing to do with Rocket League that I guess people who don't play it frequently might not realize. Every single car has a different hitbox, so yes, there's a lot of variation in what can and cannot happen, and certain goals are possible, and certain attack, like tricks and things are only possible on certain cars. So yeah, it's interesting to see them going for a bit more of a bulkier car there, as Webbs manages to pass it to Zombie Burgers, getting it past some defenders. Zombie Burgers looking to get it, gets one tap, doesn't quite manage to tap the ball and get it into a position where he might be able to flip reset, as we do see Satisfied Onion now starting to take control, running it down the side as both of his teams hanging back a bit. We see McWiff trying to go for the shot there, but he isn't able to make it, unfortunately. I mean, again,
Xavier University coming in there with the demolition. That's one way to stop an offense in his tracks.
Yeah, I mean, Xavier here are starting to play so much more aggressively. They're trying to put the pressure on, get an early lead, but if they make one mistake when they triple commit for the ball, then they are left with a defenseless goal, as Mushu manages to get it past one defender. We see McWiff going for the shot, and Webbs managing to save it.
What a madman. Webbs coming in there like a spider, right? Just flying from a wall. He can get on to this ball anywhere.
Yeah, I mean, that was a phenomenal save there. Webbs wasn't in right place, right time, as they say. Webbs once again managing to clear it, getting it to Steven here. Centering it back up is McWiff, getting a nice double tap as he... Oh! The pinch coming out there from McWiff, setting himself up. He gets a lovely aerial tap here and then immediately pinches it straight into the goal there. A lovely example. That was a fantastic example of a pinch and how much momentum it can give the ball.
Yeah.
As we get into this next 50-50.
There was no chance of a Butler player getting there, like you said, that pinch action. Coming in, hitting ball, gets your car against the ground. Going to force out a 90-degree angle on that. And that's Steven, I believe, who found all the value in the world. Oh, no, excuse me. No, yeah, that was McWiff. Sorry about that. That was McWiff taking advantage of that.
Oh my goodness. And right there, we almost saw Xavier scoring their second goal. There was so many possible attempts there, but fortunately for Butler, they weren't able to secure that goal.
It was just like, it was like there was a giant dribbling this ball right in front of that goal, and nobody could touch it for a full, like, 2-3 seconds. People knocking each other out of the way and whatnot. Interesting.
Yeah, as McWiff here looks for something, gets dunked on by Webbs, though, as Webbs manages to set the ball up in the corner. Or, sorry, in the center there. A lot, again, we need to see Butler University. They have 2 minutes left to try and find a goal here. And if Xavier managed to find a second goal this set, we might be, like I said, we might be going at least to a game 4.
Yeah. The way these teams are playing, I would not be surprised. We have not seen a larger than the larger than 1 point score differential. This game here in game 1 have been as close as they can get. Mick with a fantastic side swipe on that. Get this ball out of here when he was out of boost.
Yeah, no, that was fortunate. Again, right place, right time for Mika as he gets a lovely save there. Now starting to set it back up. We are going to see Zombie Burger trying to clear something there. I wasn't quite sure on the setup he was going for. But, okay, a bit... Oh, the pop coming out from Webbs there. A bit of a pop it and shove it. That was very, very clean.
Yeah, this ain't skating, so it's not a full pop, lock, and shove. But very well done there. Aerial right past the defender. Snaking that one on in. Love to see it. McWiff. Wait, no, hang on. That was
that was Webbs.
I'm sorry about. Yeah, that was Webbs. Yeah, the flat car.
Nice shot there.
I like that these.
Huh?
Yeah, these teams are getting more aggressive now. I feel like they've kind of felt each other out a little bit, and now they're taking these longer range shots, and they're having the second taps on first taps. They come. Oh!
Webbs?
And maybe just are letting, maybe you just get the ball to Webbs and let him do this over and over and over again with this flat car design that he's chosen.
I mean, he got the flip he tapped it once, was managing his boost super duper well, got the flip reset, didn't even need the flip reset, but still attempted to use it to secure the goal.
Yeah, there was not much that most defenders that I know at least could have done against that one, especially the last tap, bringing it up just a little bit higher.
Yeah, and it's like I said, I felt like after that first round, both of these teams are warming up, first game of the day, kind of getting used to it, and now that we're really starting to see some players shine, Webbs being one of those players.
Ball coming back here. I like what they've done, you know, taking those shots there, obviously. It's very easy for players of this caliber to get that ball going towards the goalpost. Both teams have been opting to use 2 defensive players back so one can hit it because they know that there's going to be a rebound just, a second later, if that.
Yeah, no, I agree here as McWith gets a nice aerial shot there, trying to drop it immediately down in front of the goal using that ceiling. Again, a bit of a guillotine drop as Satisfied Onion still in the air. All 3 of the players trying to set it up. 19 seconds left on the clock. Steven getting a bit of a tap there, trying to find something. We get it past 2 of the defenders. Mushi's got an open goal as he runs it in, and he is going to tie it up with 11 seconds left onto the clock.
Butler University coming through here with the advantage all game long, and then a hope, a prayer, and a full boost meter get Mushu all the way across midfield, all the way in to tie this up. 11 seconds on the clock.
Yeah, going into this 50-50 now, this might be the most important 50-50 if Butler University wants to try and bring it in. Or it might be the chance for Xavier to just take the game.
Oh, man. That was Onion not able to end that one up, get it in there, just barely off kilter.
The timer doesn't, or the game doesn't stop until the ball touches the ground. So if either of these teams can find a goal before the ball touches the ground, and we are going to go into overtime.
Yep. Yes, so even if there's a second left on there, as Nevik said, that ball is going to continue on. Time not going to expire until they touch it. This might be it, though. Webb's doing the same setup they did a second ago. Oh, man. So this ball, again, maybe not, a lot of people may not know this. Ball bounces a little bit softer off your tires. Sorry, this game is so hype. Oh, my God.
Xavier take the second game, bringing us to a 1-1 situation. So we're effectively in a best of 3 now.
My, oh my. Guys, I cast this game all the time, but Xavier and Butler coming through here, there's almost no precipice. There's no, there's no setup. There's no way that I can tell if these goals are going to be scored a second later just because how fast they've been coming through.
Yeah, no, I 100% agree. they seem, it's a bit like the calm before the storm, before we just see goal after goal after goal. And I mean, that's...
Yeah, it's just... There's almost no precipice. There's no warning beforehand. I feel there's been there was a total of 3 goals in the first one. There's a total of 5 goals in the second one. I feel like out of those 8 goals so far, at least 6 of them have come off of really long winnings of 50-50s. Taking it and just really hauling towards the other opponent's goalpost, or just really long shots. It looks like they can be blocked and then just aren't.
Yeah, no, I'd agree with that. And these long shots are, I mean, highlighting Webbs once again, right? He played an absolutely phenomenal game that last round. Managed to find both of the goals for his team, and they were both in absolutely phenomenal fashion. One of them, of course, we saw being really well showcased, the flip reset, where he managed to get the aerial. It showed his prowess in boost management, and just how well he's able, the finesse that he has on his car. But coming into game 3 now, 1-1 either side, Tug. This is now effectively a best of 3.
Yeah, series is tied up. This is 1-1. Nobody's taking advantage. Nobody's taking disadvantage whatsoever. Great corner block there by Webbs, I believe. And just like that, ball on the other side. Yeah, this game has been characterized by possession changes all the way through, aerial superiority, always coming out on top. Players like Webb, as you mentioned, being able to take advantage of that one over their opponents.
Yeah, Mushu there getting the dunk onto Webbs. This Satisfied Onion tried to follow it up with the aerial, trying to go for a bit of a drop shot. Unfortunately, not finding it, as we do see once again, like you're saying, the possession of the ball being changed left, right, and center, as when anybody gets one tap, immediately the other team manages to find it.
Yeah, Stefan is scary with this defense, man. Butler, I think those blocks would have gone in, I'll just say, in some of my pub games.
And Webbs.
And then Webbs comes back and does exactly what he's been doing every game so far.
Yeah, no, that is literally what Webbs has been doing. He's just been coming out of nowhere being like, I feel like we need a goal, and then acquiring the goal.
I'm tired of being tied. Can we just get a goal and, you know, go to the advantage?
Yeah. Put some pressure on them. I mean, it's a good place to be in. You always want to be, you know, 1 or 2 goals ahead. As Mushu takes a shot there. Webbs saving it as well. Webbs is a name we are saying an awful lot this set.
It really is. I mean, of course, on paper, both teams have scored once. Xavier has played most of this game kind of from behind, though, because we've mostly seen Butler in the individual games score first. You know,
yes.
so they'll just be playing from behind. I would be interested to see what happens if Xavier scores first in these next coming games.
Yeah, and Xavier retorting fairly quickly there, assisted by Satisfied Onion. Mick is going to be able to tie it up 1-1 here, as we get a lovely centered pass following up, and the 50-50 on that read. They predicted Mick was going to try and pop it over, but he went straight under and managed to secure that goal.
A lot to be said for not being where your opponents think you're going to be, you know, when you're trying to execute some sort of plan like that. Great job by tipping that one from Mushu now, or by McWiff, excuse me, Mushu putting that up.
Yeah, Satisfied Onion trying to run it here. Again, Xavier putting on a lot of pressure. It feels like a flip from game 1, where we saw Xavier in that corner just taking punch after punch.
Yeah, I'm actually, now I'm gonna take account of how fast these goals were scored. Last one was 59 miles per hour. I can only anticipate those going up.
Yeah, I mean, I couldn't tell you off the top of my head, but when we saw the pinch go earlier, that ball just gained momentum out of nowhere.
Yeah, might hit the triple digits, who knows. That was, yeah. Again, the pinches and the act of hitting ball against car and ground really being it, and that one's just a little bit too fast. Webbs can do it on the ground. Webbs can do it in the air. He can do it with the Fox. He can do it in a box.
You can actually see one of Xavier's players there, Mushu, just going, I'm not going to get that.
Yeah. Just gotta give up, go down, go to next round. Makes sense.
Yeah, I mean, he wasn't going to catch up to it. He just kind of took that time to mentally reset, and I think that's the right attitude to make when you literally cannot outpace the ball.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to be said for it, right? In Rocket League, you're talking about what 10. I mean, not even 10-second breaks. You're looking at maybe like a 3.5, 5, maybe second break in between rounds. So the whole time you're really, you know, you're really very, very attentive to the game. You know, you have to.
Yeah, so trying to find those little mental breaks where you can is definitely something that I think takes a player that knows their own limits.
Bounce out, and this will be set up all day. Butler's been good on defending these balls. Butler has not been as good at recognizing these offensive setups that Xavier is putting out.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, Xavier is putting on a lot of pressure. They are a goal behind, though, because we have, once again, seen Webbs manage to score, I believe, both goals this set as well.
Yes, he has.
So, and then the man's in defense as well. Like, he's playing it super, super patient. And that doesn't... The efforts of Steven and Zombie Burger are also really well noted as well. We're seeing saves coming from them. We're seeing passes. We're seeing assists. But Webbs kind of is the talk of the show at the moment.
He is. That's fair. He was one of the players that switched his car model coming into this round. Since speaking of, we're looking at only minute left, Navik. This has been Butler up the entirety of this round after first goal scored.
Yeah, Mick Whiff here, managing to take the ball, trying to run it down. It's going to be looking, Xavier passing it to, trying to center it there. A bit of a miscommunication, I think, from, an attempt was made. He saw an opening, went for the pass, and the massive pinch coming out there from Zombie Burger, once again showcasing the amount of speed you can get out of nowhere.
Yeah, jeez Louise, yeah. Oh, hitting crossbar, and you're looking at a very lucky Butler team that was not a score.
Yeah, that was extremely unfortunate for Xavier there, as that was a borderline open goal. I keep thinking that Zombie Burger is on the other team due to the C9 skin, but yeah, that was extremely unfortunate.
Oh, wait, no, I'm not sure what you're saying. Very close, right there.
Last second.
Nicely done. He just had his opponents just put it up for him. You know, that is. I'm not sure. What was Steven doing behind Mushu then?
Honestly,
I'm
whatever was happening in communications there, even if there was a mild communication breakdown, it worked out for them. They found the goal. They brought it into overtime, as we do see Butler trying to find something here. If the ball went over Zombie Burger right there, that could have been it already. Xavier trying to take this lead. They've been down a game. They lost game 1, managed to bring it back to a 1-1 in game 2 here. So I imagine they really want to try and take the lead for the first time this set.
Yeah, these guys are hungry. Mushu and Moore have been going for these long setups to the side of Xavier, but Butler, again, really been able to sniff out these offensive pushes thus far. I think the switch on these flatter cars for Butler has provided them value so far, Navik.
Yeah, I mean, again, Rocket League for the longest time has been just use this one specific car and be done with it, because it's the most efficient. But we have seen time and time again certain cars have popped up that have kind of shimmied the meta a little bit. And yeah, it's interesting to see just the variations of cars being used in the current game.
Pop up is going to get blocked. I do believe they all travel the same speed, right? The same max speed.
Yes, the only difference is I believe their turning radiuses and hitboxes are slightly varied.
Ever so slightly, but I mean, those differences are what's going to make or break champions, especially guys like this who are playing at such a high level.
Yeah, I mean, they're playing phenomenally.
From season 9.
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I was just gonna iterate on your point. Yeah, no, they're playing phenomenally well at the moment. Again, this is game 3, and we've had 2 overtimes.
Yeah, of at least 4 minutes now, because I believe that first one was 2.5 minutes, making for a 7.5 total minute match.
Yeah.
Game's just been getting airline miles, getting frequent flyer miles, spending this much time up in the air.
Yeah, as we see Webb's air bumping, I believe that was Mushu away from the ball there, as they're going to try and make a run for it now. Unfortunately, Steven doesn't actually find the connection that he wanted there on the open goal. Now it's Xavier's time, or Xavier's attempt to strike back, as they manage to gain some ball control, as it's immediately stolen back from Butler.
Yeah, this is literally anybody's game. This is as true neutral as you could get.
Yeah, I mean, at the moment, the amount of back and forth is absolutely, like, unbelievable, because it really does feel like if a single mistake is made, then there's
a single mistake. Satisfied Onion nailing that one in. Xavier, nicely done. Well, we saw, yeah, it was Webbs who did this a second ago, right? Popping this just barely over these defenders' heads, or this heads the top of their cars, whatever you want to say. And they didn't have that, you know, maybe if we'd seen some flatter, longer model cars coming out from Xavier, who knows? Maybe if they'd had the Steven or the Webbs car, then that might have been higher, because that literally was just a hair's breadth off the top of his hitbox there.
Yeah, I mean, and now coming into game 4, the Xavier up point. This is match point for Xavier.
Indeed. And Xavier, what, yeah, sorry, Butler, again, they have been the team mostly in the driver's seat.
Yes.
Pun intended. And now for the first time, really they're playing at a disadvantage, or playing at not at the advantage, I guess. I should say.
So it's interesting now if we see any more people switch back to the Octane, and Webbs has switched back to the Octane. I believe Burger has also switched back to the Octane, as Butler's going to be able to get goal 1 pretty much immediately there. That was what, 12 seconds?
Yeah, that was not just the fastest, but possibly a little bit of sloppy play here. Yeah, that's gonna be this. That might have been Satisfied Onion who knocked it in on his own goal. Wait, no, Mushu put it up and Satisfied Onion knocked it in. I'm sorry about that. I thought that was a mistake for a second.
Yeah, all 3 players on Butler are now running the Octane once again. As again, like I said, it's been the tried and true car for. I mean, even back before Rocket League, when it was supersonic acrobatic rocket-powered battle cars, the Octane was the car people went to. That or the Scarab, and now the Scarab is seen as possibly the worst car in Rocket League.
Yeah, the kind of that buggy look.
That is correct.
Yep, interesting stuff. Yeah, the traditional Rocket League car that you see the logo and everything being rocked almost all the way through by Butler here. Now 4:10 on the clock. Butler at the advantage, where they've been every point in this match so far. They're down 2-1 in the series, but up 1-0 in the game.
Yeah, and now trying to make something happen here. Xavier do not want this going to a game 5. They want to be able to take the lead and just manage to close out the series without giving Butler University a chance here. But Butler are not going down without a fight as they manage to find goal number 2.
Now tell me, is that the longest lead we've had so far? 2-0?
I believe so.
I believe so as well. Everything else is just in a difference of 1. Literally the closest win, the closest score difference that you can have, period.
Yeah, and now we're going to be going into the kickoff again. We do see Xavier winning that kickoff, as there's a bit of a back and forth at the moment. Mushu managing to clear it up, getting the rebound, trying to center it, getting intercepted by Zombie Burger.
Nice job, Zombie Burger, getting this ball out or away. Now it's up to him to win that one-on-one versus Satisfied Onions. Now they're in a great position. Setup is there.
Off the backboard from Webbs to Steven. Steven managing to find the connection and scoring the goal.
Nicely done. Butler University says they want to see a game 5, Navik.
And it's very much so looking like that with the way that they're currently playing.
3-0, longest score difference in this match so far.
Yeah, I mean, 3-0 is a massive lead considering how close each of these games have been.
Really has. I mean, scoring three goals back-to-back is a tall order. Obviously, Butler University proved that they can do it. Xavier will have a really, really long road ahead of them, trying to score all that without dropping another one.
Yeah, I mean, and like you said, it's going to be a hard time for Xavier to try and make this happen, but they're definitely going to give it an attempt as Mickwith manages to push it down center field, looking to intercept, does get the rebound, passing it back to himself, chips it up into the air as we see Satisfied Onion trying to make something happen. He wins the attempted air battle there. He managed to dunk on his opponent as they still don't manage to find anything out of it.
A lot of teams here at this point in Butler University's position will be playing, would be content to play this super defensively. You maybe stack the box, get a lot of bodies in there, make it harder to score. They are not. They are unfazed. Butler's all over this one, blocking all the way through. Steven has been all over these shots. Continuously. Yeah, no, and I mean, again, a great job by Steven. I just mentioned it, right? He's blocking from up top, he's blocking from down bottom, doing a great job, and Butler University is content to eat up this clock and as much of it as they can before there's another score one way or another.
Yeah, no, every attempt Xavier's been trying to make so far has just not worked out for them. It was just out of nowhere. Butler University is coming up with this iron wall defense. They're managing to find every angle that Xavier tried to take and save it.
Now Butler going on the offense. Nice shot out here. Satisfied. McWith, Mushu trying to get something going. Webb says no go. Sends it back on over. A little bit more of the clock eaten.
Yeah, bit of a back and forth at the moment here. A minute 30 left onto the clock. Xavier down 3-0. So at the moment, they really need to try and find something. Mushu trying to take a shot. It hits the crossbar, unfortunately, onto the backboard. I mean, the amount of back and forth at the moment and the attempts. Okay, well, we're going to start bringing out the demolitions as Mickwith tries to win that and gain some ball control back, but it just flies straight back to Webs.
Looking at a minute on the clock, Navik. This is getting farther and farther away from Xavier's third win closing up of this. Rolling all the way in, as I said it, Steven with a nice little golf putt, we'll say. Just kind of like rolling on in there. A little bounce on it too. He doesn't want too much.
Yeah, I mean, that is definitely feels a bit like the nail in the coffin when we see the fourth goal coming out with a minute left. When each of these goals have taken about a minute for even the team that seems to be dominating at the moment to find, it's difficult to think that Xavier will bring 4 goals back in the time they've been given.
There is time though, we'll let them play it. 4-0. I mean, yeah, looking at an average of about a minute, hitting one every 10 seconds would be a tall order. Granted, it's set up, and so it is put into a 50-50, but winning those 50-50s consistently and then 4 in a row is just very unlikely. And only getting less and less likely. This is a Xavier team that is now getting, individually in this map, but individually getting blown out. 5-0 is bad.
Yeah, so if I was Xavier at the moment, I'd be thinking to myself, okay, there's no way we are taking this game. Let's just mentally reset, spend this 30 seconds, and then the extra like 10-15 seconds we get from like loading screens, waiting for people to join, ready up. Take that time, so let's give them 50 seconds, mentally reset, and come in even stronger for game 5.
Yeah, what did we do wrong? What could we do better? What do we want to keep doing? And what do we want to excise from our playbook? Makes a lot of sense.
Exactly. And 5 seconds
They're
left
already
on
up,
the clock. It's now mathematically impossible for Xavier to take this victory, so I imagine they're going to try and use this time to not let the ball touch the ground, specifically to communicate more. It gives them more time to talk and try and figure out what went wrong.
Yeah, exactly. I believe, are we going to give them that time to figure this out?
Huh?
Are we going to give them a minute to figure that out?
Well, they'll get that off of this now. They'll,
gotcha,
with the loading screens and things, they'll get that time.
5-0. So with that, Butler has just gotten several scores and really added to their total, point score, their total goals.
Yes. As we are now getting into game 5. I mean, this could be anyone's game. If I was a betting man, I think Butler are in a very good position momentum-wise off of that last set. However, I don't think that means absolutely anything with looking at the prior games. And we're going to kick it off now, coming into the start here as we have neither of the cars moving. So at the moment, we will be jumping to a quick break as I try and figure out or try to wait for news to be heard. So give us just a moment. And we'll be back with
I think
you.
these are players asking to remake the server.
Yeah, it's seeming like that. So we will be hopping to a quick break, and we will be back with you momentarily. Welcome back, everybody. We are now getting back into the games as we had a bit of a technical difficulty, but now coming in, we are getting into Game 5 of Xavier University against Butler University. Tug, what have you got to say for this last game?
What have I got to say? I'm lit, I'm excited, I'm happy, I'm here. I've been anticipating this. Game 5, man, doesn't get closer than this. Nobody at advantage now, even though Butler is, every single game so far, scored the first goal, put themselves in the driver's seat, put the foot to the metal, or pedal to the metal, I guess is the phrase, and scored first. Put the ball in the other person's court.
Yeah,
oh!
I mean, oh,
How?
Yeah, I mean,
Players like this, you never anticipate balls spending time in front of goals like that and not getting slammed in.
and I think that's the thing, right, is that you don't anticipate it, so you're always kind of on the lookout.
I hear you. Always looking for nutty plays.
Yeah, Mikwood here, trying to find something. A good clear coming out from Butler. They are going to get, okay, a bit of a pinch upwards there. Has nobody? Okay, there we go. I was trying to see who on the side of Xavier. We're going to find that as a shot comes out there, and Steven just manages to save it.
Yeah, tip of the car. Might have lost a fender trying to block that ball. Seriously, he got there just in the nick of time. We'd be looking at a Butler team that would be down for the second time in a series, as it is still even Stevens. About 1 minute and 15 seconds gone off the clock.
Yeah, I mean, so much. There's so much that could happen here. It feels like we've gone back to game 1 a little bit, where we had no idea where this set was going, and we just kind of said, one mistake could cost them the game, and will that be the one mistake as Zombie Burger manages to get the goal there uncontested?
Yeah, man, I'm so glad that he scored this, because I wanted to talk about what just happened a second ago. Steven was flying on along the inside of their goal, about to send this thing flying, but where he would have sent it would have been, it would have seen at least a single bounce on their side. That's not what you want. He hit those brakes as hard as he could, stopped moving, and let Zombie Burger just launch this mother out completely away from their goal. That led to the setup that led to the goal. They're at an advantage. That's how defensive, a winning defensive plays can turn into making offensive plays. And there's another one!
And at the moment, it's looking... We need to be seeing Xavier pulling something out here. A 2-goal lead. The last thing anybody wants is a repeat of last game. Unless you're Butler.
Unless you're Butler. Unless you're the 3 of the 8 people involved in this match, if you count these 2 casters. Unless you're those 3. You don't want to see that.
Ooh,
oh!
The crossbar goal off the kickoff there from Satisfied Onion. Manages to get it away from Steven, gets a lovely little wall tap there, and it just goes straight in.
Yeah, that was perfect utilization on the wall on that. Maybe we're seeing players on both sides really waking up and coming alive for this game.
Yeah, now being able to have a goal up, or sorry, being a goal closer to evening it up, you definitely feel a lot better considering you just had a 0-goal game.
Yeah, 0 goals throughout the entirety is pretty rough. I mean, losing 1-0 is bad. Losing 2-0, 3-0 can really suck. Losing 5-0 is almost like giving up points for your opponent's lane placement.
Yeah,
again, coming in October 7th, 8th, I believe.
But Xavier are not letting that get them down, as they're doing an absolutely phenomenal job here, trying to clear it out, managing to put some pressure back on and showing us why this set is 2-2. Because, I mean, okay, well, goal 3 could have come to Butler. I was about to finish.
I told you. No, sometimes you gotta take sides here. I just gotta say it. Butler, I mean, they've been playing at advantage at the beginning of every game. They've been making things like this happen. We've been talking about Webbs and what he's able to do. I am not saying by any means that Xavier's a bad team or on it. I'm just saying that they're getting beat here. 5-0, that's about as clean as you can get, right? Not saying bad team by any means. And longer shots like this almost make you think that Zombie Burger has, that this ball owes him money or something like that and is just throwing. It's just like, all right, I know I can influence where I go, because 1 degree off, that ball would be bouncing either the crossbar on the top or all the way out.
Yeah. But at the end of the day, the set is still 2-2, and that's bringing it to a game 5 is super duper good, no matter what.
Yes.
And you are technically incorrect, because game 2, Xavier scored the first goal.
Yeah, I thought it said every game except for 1.
I don't believe so. That's
Oh.
fine. I'm just giving you a hard time.
No, that's cool. That's cool. I gotta be held accountable for my words. And
Cool.
and you know, Nevik and I are just here talking. Steven and Zombie Burger, meanwhile, are snaking in these long balls every single second. And I have to point out, you know, Navik's tried to prove me wrong twice, and then the Butler boys show up and score right as he's trying to make his point. I really appreciate that, Butler University.
You know, unfortunately for Xavier at the moment, they aren't down quite a bit, but considering how quickly these goals are coming out, there's definitely a possibility for them to make it back. We've seen it happen before. They're not going to get taken to Brazil today.
No, they aren't. Well, I was gonna say, but that going up there might have proven the other way around. I guess if you make enough of these definitive points, Kevin or Navik, then they have to score eventually when you're done talking, right?
They definitely do, as we do see Mig Whiff trying to make something happen there. It does whiff a little bit, but sets up his teammates quite nicely. But Webbs sees that commitment and commits for it even faster. Satisfied Onion here, trying to make something happen. Mushu running it back. McWith clearing it back to the side of Butler University here as they are setting it back, managing to get it past some of the defenders. Onion trying to get a bit of a jumping off the slide there to rebound it back, centering it for his teammate. A lovely little tap from McWith there is saved by Zombie Burger. I mean, there's so much going on both sides here. It's not like you can even say Xavier is putting up a bad offensive attempt here.
No. By any means, they've been all over this. This pressure has been all Xavier and all against Butler. Now, as we reach 40 seconds, it's going to be hard to do 4 goals to tie, but of course, the last goal can be done in 1 second, right? As long as you have 1 second left, then the 50-50 still starts and it's still possible.
Yeah, I mean, that is correct. But yeah, I mean, it's not even like either of these teams have been playing badly. They've both been playing incredibly well. Just Butler's defense has been
it has been amazing.
speechless.
Steven has been all of it. Nicely done there. Zombie sacrificing the body to get that ball out there. It's going to be a long one. I do believe now we have our conclusion. Honestly, you know, and we'll talk about this after the clock officially ends, but I think that these two teams honestly kind of played very similarly. You know, yes, you had Webbs doing these crazy things up in the air and getting these offensive goals. On the other side, you had McWhiff doing the same exact thing. You know, you have Steven down there in goal, barely getting his car to where he needs to, but you got Satisfied Onion doing the same exact thing. It almost seems like both of these teams had the same playbook, and it's just that Butler University, overall, but in 2 games specifically, were able to utilize that just a little bit better.
Yeah, no, I agree. And I think that was a very, very close story throughout every single one of those games. And
then boom, Butler University scores again.
Yeah. Well, you know, but we are going to cut to a quick break as we move it over to the next game. So we will see you all momentarily. Thank you for tuning in.